Acetone and wrap. Okay, okay. That's the right way to do it. That's one way. Okay. What about you, Leah?
What about like in a bowl?
Big old bowl full of acetone, right?
Full of acetone.
Okay.
And then, like a bowl. I usually do like a pot or some hot water under it. Like just sit it.
Okay. 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 So let me tell you a little story real quick. So I used to I was training a salon one time that had opened up a beautiful salon. It was over there in Evans called Digits Nail Bar. And when I got there, the people who owned it, they had opened it up. They weren't nail people. They were actually doctors. Okay. And I knew their physicians at one was Dr. Kuhn, there was another doctor that was a neurosurgeon over there at the MCG pediatrics unit. Him, and 4 other doctors all got together and decided to put together this nail salon, residual income, something. And the honest truth is that it was their wives. They said, let's do a nail salon, like, trying to, because people should have income from all kinds of ways, right? Well, I would never try to open a hospital because I don't know. I don't know the ins and the inner workings and all that stuff, right? So they opened this salon and it was beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful. They called it Digits Nail Bar. It had an actual bar where the seats were up high and it looked like a bar. The nail tech sat behind it. They had the drawers. Wow. It was beautiful. Had some of the top of the line products in there. They had so many different colors and everything matched. Like they had the polish. It was just beautiful. It was pedicure chairs. They had 3 of them set up in there. They was the nicest pedicure chairs you could get. And then when they opened, they had hired someone to manage it. And this person that they hired to manage it was someone from an NSS salon. Okay. And a successful one. But he ran it like an NSS salon instead of, and when I say that, y'all know I mean non-standard salons, right? So it didn't do well. The first 6 months, it was just, they couldn't get anyone to come and work in there. The people that were working in there when I arrived were high school students from the Career Center over there in North Dakota. So they weren't even Georgia licensed nail technicians, nor were they even old enough to work.
Yeah, because you gotta.
Some of them were. I mean, you can work at 15, right, 16, but you're not like in Georgia. You have to be 17 years of age with a high school diploma in order to even to work, right? So, with that being said, I was reached out to them by them to help them with their salon. When I got there, first thing I noticed was the employees. I said, you got to go home, baby. You can't work in here. And to this day, they mad at me, don't like me because I fired them. I was like, look, legally, you cannot work in here.
Right.
You not even legally because of the no license. That was one thing. But you ain't old enough to be in here working. You can't work in here. Okay. Then I scurried to the back. And I noticed that they had a jug like this, full of this like pinkish, reddish, not really any color, just kind of like a bunch of stuff floating around in it. I'm like, what is this? There was a funnel sitting on top of it, a pink paper towel in the funnel, and it was dried up and crusty looking. I'm like, what is this? Because the jug just was a jug, a clear jug. You could see through it. And they said, oh, it's acetone. I said, what kind of acetone? They said, oh, well, this is where we put the used acetone. I was like, well, what do you do with it? What are you doing with it? And they said, oh, well, when we get a bowl of acetone and fill it up for the soak-offs, we take the old acetone and we pour it in there. I said, okay, so, because they were using the paper towel to funnel the stuff that, but I was like, but why are you funneling it if you're just going to throw it away? which that's very wasteful anyway by throwing. I just bought 4 gallons of acetone yesterday. It was $75 for 4. Okay, and that's because I bought 4 instead of 1. Buy 1 is $25 a piece, right? So I got a whole discount for 4. They said, "Oh, we reuse it."
That's disgusting.
I said, "You do what?"
They refuse.
You do what?
That's
They
nasty.
said, "Well, acetone, isn't it like alcohol?" I said, "Get out. Just get out. Just let me have. I need a moment. I need a moment. Everybody, get out." You telling me that you take the leftover, because you know how they do.
Mm-hmm.
Bloop, 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 bloop,
That's
bloop,
why they're so generous with it, because they reuse it.
both hands in there soaking it like you getting a manicure. Then they take all and they soaking it, they scraping and scraping and scraping and all that nasty scrapings and all that stuff is on. So that's what the paper towel was for. They weren't even using like a coffee. They were using it like a coffee filter into the funnel to pour so all the little fingernail shavings and all of that stuff. I flipped out. I said, everybody gotta go.
Everybody gotta go.
Disgusting.
Who authorized this?
Right. Who did that? Who idea was it?
And they
Did
pointed
tell
at the manager, and I said, you got to go. I was coming in there to try to consult.
Yeah.
That was my job, was to come in there and consult them. And then I said, my consultation is fire
Exactly.
everybody got to go
And start over.
and start over. So then they offered me a job. And I was like, well,
Okay. Yeah, you gonna be
Right.
comfortable with what y'all talking about.
So that is not how we do it. Okay? Forget about do not reuse acetone. One of the girls said to me, "Well, isn't it, can't no germs live in acetone? Isn't it like alcohol?" Please don't talk to me anymore. I don't want to hear nothing else you got to say.
Yeah, but even if it was alcohol,
Do you reuse alcohol? Do you reuse
alcohol?
alcohol?
If it was pure alcohol.
Y'all, come on now. Let's think about it. So, with that being said, we're going to talk about quite a few different ways that you can soak off, okay? But in my world, see, I like to save money. I'm a little frugal. I'm not just going to be using a whole quarter of a bottle of acetone on one person. And you guys remember, there's a way that you're supposed to dispose of this stuff. Mm-hmm. Even if they were taking it and putting it in the jug and closing the container and throwing it in the garbage, that's still not the way you dispose of it. Okay? The way we dispose of it is we let acetone evaporate. Okay? You're going to lay it out, leave it in the bowl and let it sit until that whole bowl of acetone evaporates. Because it evaporates very quickly, right? Or we're going to soak it up. And how you going to soak up a whole bowl of soak it up in a paper towel and then throw it in the garbage because it's going to evaporate, right? But that's still very wasteful. I'm not doing that. So using a bowl is one of those things that I just don't recommend for waste purposes. And how are you going to, get rid of it? Now, when you are using a bowl, which some people do use bowls, what kind of bowl are you going to use? Can it be your Tupperware dish from home? Can it be a plastic Tupperware dish? Now, a lot of people will say to me, "Well, Miss Mary, you can't use a plastic dish. Remember, y'all just said you can't use a plastic dish." Well, let's hold on now. No. Some plastic will not work, right? It's always funny. I always have one student do it every time. They take some acetone and put it in here, like this is acetone resistant, right? To soak. They'll be like, "Oh, just put some acetone in there for a cleanup dish or whatever," right? Then they pick it up and the whole bottom is gone and the acetone just falls out into the middle of the table. Well, if you can't use plastic, well, what is this? what kind of plastic? Acetone resistant plastic. I mean, it's in a plastic container, isn't it? Acetone can go in this because there's a type of plastic that you have to purchase when you're dealing with chemicals. And trust me, I know. See, I only know this because I have my own product line. It's called HDPE plastic. Okay? That's acetone resistant plastic. So, these soak-off bowls, those that you guys have in front of you, that is the way if you're going to use a bowl to soak off fingers, because that is acetone resistant. Okay? Now, there's a big difference between that bowl and your manicure bowl. Your manicure bowl is meant for what? Water and soap. Right? You can put it in there, but it's going to turn it some funky, it's going to melt it slowly, but it will melt it. Okay? And it will start to like look discolored, and you won't be able to clean that white chalkiness off of there. It just looks bad. These are acetone resistant. Okay, now this is my favorite soak off jar, and I have them over here. They're $6 if you want to get you one, and I highly recommend. And I get them. I go to Atlanta and buy all this stuff for y'all, so y'all can have it. These, well, this is an example of one I used yesterday. You can see it a little better. There's little wells in there, just like that. But why does this come off? Y'all see this? That's the little finger holes.
So you can clean it?
Yeah. So you can clean it. But what is this for? You know, Aliyah, because you said
the water?
The hot water.
The hot water.
So when we're working with chemicals, there are ways that can make this process speed up. Y'all remember when we talked about acrylic? How can you make acrylic cure faster? Heat, right? Y'all remember back in the day when they put your hand under the lamp light to try to cure your acrylic faster. You can also soak off the acrylic by using heat faster. So what I like to do, and y'all back there in that water jug thing that's behind the door, it does hot and cold water. So hot like coffee hot. So you're gonna put you some hot water in here, and it ain't gotta be scalding, but I recommend it be pretty steamy hot, right? Put it in here, and then take that's why this is double walled like this. It's gonna lock it in like that, and then you put your acetone in each one of these little wells. Don't fill it to the top. It's not necessary, okay? But you're gonna fill it to where their fingers, And even with this, these nails are real long. It's keeping my fingers from going deep down in there. So when we soak off, what's the best way to do it if they got long nails? What if they got extendos? You're going to be up here like this.
Yeah, you need to cut.
Right? So you got to shorten the nails and try to remove as much of the acrylic as you possibly can, because that's going to make it move faster. So if you've got some nails that are long and thick, you want to go ahead and try to thin them down. All right, with a hand file if you got a hand file, with an e-file if you have an e-file, right? So that's the best way. This is, in my opinion, and I've been doing this a long time, in my opinion, is to soak it off in one of these types of bowls. What you guys have, and I'm going to be honest with you, I bought these on accident, and I didn't need that many. I only really wanted to test them. So you guys are getting one. Okay? But this is not going to, you definitely not going to get these mannequin hands in these holes. You're not going to be able to get it.
Yeah.
So this is for when you are soaking off your nails here in class, or when you are soaking off when you take it home, if you're working with clients or whatever at home, so that you can soak off a human's hands. They are not meant for mannequin hands, okay? But there is a way that you have to, at the state board, y'all remember the things that y'all have to do at state board?
Yeah, we gotta soak off a nail.
You have to soak off that, in particular, the sculpted nail that you sculpted.
So don't make it thick.
Amen. Do not make that nail thick. You want that sculpted. So here we got, this is a state board hand, right? Mm-hmm. This is what your hand's gonna look like when you get to the sculpted, to the soak off section. So we got our manicure hand, right? We got all the little fingers on here. We blended a tip on this one, right?
Uh-huh.
And that's all we're gonna do at state board. Then we sculpted a nail on this one. Now the proctor's gonna say, now you need to soak off the fingernail that you sculpted. Okay? So how are we gonna get this off if we can't use a soak off bowl and we can't use a big old bowl? Because if you do that, because there's gonna be somebody that ain't go to school that's gonna be like, oh, I got this soak off down. Yeah, girl, I'm about to get this. And they're gonna go, whoop, and sit there in the proctor and say, please pack your things in. What school did you go to? Did you read the bulletin? Because there is a bulletin. I gave it to you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all see how thick that thing is? And do you know they will change something in a heartbeat and not tell nobody? They expect you to read it so that you know the rules and of how they expect. This is a test, y'all. This isn't a, oh, let's just show up for a nail picnic. This is an exam. So they want you to do it a certain way. And I'm going to show you guys the state board way today. Okay? Now, when you go to the state board, will you get me those foils that are on the table back there? And I do need some cotton balls. Thank you so much. Y'all
Being nice.
Y'all know
Tell her you ain't forgot.
Y'all know he gonna get
They gonna go at it
Tell her
later.
you look.
When y'all leave, he gonna
You
say,
can be nice, but
who
you
the
ain't
hell
forgot.
was you? Who the hell?
Look at you laughing.
And can I and I need some cotton, please. So when you guys go to state board, I set up your kits so that you are ready. Like brand new everything, brand new hand. Only thing you gotta do, everything's ready for you, right? Brand new brush, brand new acrylic monomer, all that stuff. Now, if you want to go rogue and pack your own kit, which I do have students that have done that and they passed, right? But they had been in school and practiced this so much that, at some point it's easy for them. Mm-hmm. Now, but that's some students. Some students are like, no, I want a brand new kit. I ain't taking no chance. I know Miss Mary gonna set my kit up perfect for me, and I'm gonna pass this state board, and I ain't got to worry about it.
I gotta drive again.
Stuff,
Right.
So,
Right. I done had students come in here and be like, and pack their kit. Like, I'm like, what are you doing? I'm packing my kit for state board. So you're not gonna practice at all before you go to state board. You know it's gonna be like 2-3 months before you go to state board. You just gonna pack your kit up and not pay for it? Anyway. So, at state board, I pack your kit up and you have a soak-off bag. You guys have that in your kits already, right? There's a little bag that says soak-off procedure or removal of sculpted nail procedure, right? And in there is going to be 2 or 3 of these because, you never know. You might mess this one up. You might want to do another one or whatever, but you only need one. I cut these and make these small, perfect size for you to do the soak-off. You also are going to have in that little bag some cotton balls, just enough, like 2 or 3, because you only need 1, 2 or 3 to be able to put soak off the nail. You're also going to have a little bottle of acetone. It won't be a big one, it'll be a little one like the rest of those ones, because you're soaking off 1 nail. There will be a file, an acrylic nail file, and a orange wood stick. Okay, that's all you need to do this procedure. So, you got 20 minutes to soak off 1 nail. This nail is hopefully thin and you didn't make it super thick so that you can sit there for the whole 20 minutes waiting for it to soak off. Now, let me tell you something that may happen, and this will let you know that the nail gods are with you on that day. What may happen is the whole damn nail come off.
That we take, yeah.
Because all you did was glue a tip, right?
Right.
That's hopefully,
yeah.
The nail gods will be with you, and you will lose the whole tip in one piece.
Right. Just
But
put it in there.
If not,
if that happens, you better not let them see it. Okay, meaning you just better sit there and act like you scraping that nail off. Because if the whole thing come off, they're gonna swear you used a tape or something to tape it on, right? So, but it has happened. I've had students come back and tell me, Miss Mary, guess what? The gods were with me. Like, really? I prayed for you. That's all I'm gonna say. So, with that being said, if you do make a nail a little thick, what are you gonna do? File for your life, in the words of RuPaul. You know how she say, dance for your life. What does she say? Vogue for your life, or something like that. When they have the very end of that show, whenever they get ready to RuPaul's Drag Race. So you gonna file for your life and try to thin that nail down, because what they don't want you to do is go. First of all, you shouldn't have done a nail so long that you need to clip the tip, right?
Yeah.
But you are going to want to take your hand file, and we're going to do this. This is what you're going to do. You're going to want to take your hand file, and you're going to want to, and I mean all I want to hear when we do this practice is, because you can't pry it off, and you can't take clippers and nippers or nothing to jam it, try to pry the fingernail up like they do in the salons, okay? So we're going to file for our life and try to thin that nail down as much as possible, so that when we get ready to soak it, it is gonna soak quickly, okay? Now 20 minutes is plenty of time to soak off one nail. But if you got a nail that's as big as a brick, it ain't coming off in 20 minutes. It's gonna take a while, okay? So, file for your life. You could file this whole thing off, okay? That's not what they want you to do. Because, and here's another thing. You need to be protecting around the cuticle area, because if you're filing, and you are tearing up the PNF back here of this fake hand, what do they think you're doing on the client? Same thing. So the goal is for you to remove this acrylic. See how I'm rolling this finger? So it's rolling. Okay? Rolling. I'm thinning that down. I've almost gotten it down. You guys, I don't know if you guys can see that. Let me zoom in a bit. I've almost gotten that down.
Good zoom.
Oh, you like that? I ain't gonna need you at the while.
Hey, she gonna need it.
Yeah, I'm gonna need it.
Soon as something malfunction.
I always need it. But see how you can kind of see the color changing here?
Yeah.
It's getting thin, right? It's getting thin. And at some point, if you file this down enough, you will get down to the natural nail plate, and we don't want that, okay? Now, good morning, Selena. This is Selena. She's a day class student as well. Now, remember, because I had a student ask me this, and I literally told him to get off my line. He was getting ready to go to state. I said, get off my line. I don't want to talk to you. I can't believe you asked me that. How long have you been? Where were you? This is why I don't like the big classes. Because somebody always get lost in the sauce. Somebody. They called me and said, Miss Mary, do I need to soak it down to the natural nail, or to the fake nail right here, or do I soak it all the way off? I said, get off my line. How are you going to soak the nail and not get this off? This is a plastic finger.
It's gonna come off.
So what do you think the answer is? You need to soak this nail all the way off so that it looks like it did when you first got it, before you glued the tips on. Okay? Like a brand new finger, plastic finger to the nail bed, basically. Remove the little fake tip that we glued on. That needs to be gone too. And it needs to be smooth, and not raggedy and etched looking. And also that means that's another thing. You're going to have a buffer in there too. Because you got to buff this complete removal of the acrylic at State Board. Okay? So, file as much as you can without getting to the natural nail plate, because that's not what we're doing here. We're trying to soak it off. Because you could, if that, ain't no telling how many people going to be in there, but if it was 30 people in there and 1 or 2 proctors, you might could get it to you fast. But don't cheat, y'all. You're going to soak this nail off, okay? So we've got all that. We're going to soak that down. If you want to, you can remove some of the free edge. I don't want you to clip it with a nail clipper. Let me tell you why. Would you do that in real life? Just snap someone's nail when it's this short. Because when I clip the nails, I try to clip it like about right in the midway. And the reason for that is because if you clip a really thick acrylic nail, it could snap down and break and go snap all the way down to your client's natural nail. It might not go straight across. It could go down, and that would be very painful. Very painful, okay? So if you thin it out, then you can snip it. But you guys, y'all making a short little square nail here. We're not trying to do like an extra long extendo at State Board, right? So you can file the tip down some if you want to, but you ain't gonna have to because this nail gonna come off. It's a plastic finger, all right? So when you're done, you're gonna, you'll have your little, you won't have your nail brush in that kit because you're not gonna need it. You're gonna be sitting on top of your towels and all that stuff will be there, so you won't have all this dust on here like I do. All right. So then once you file it down and get it as thin as you possibly can, and this is why I give y'all pink acrylic to work with at State Board so you can see what you're doing. A lot of these kits come with a little clear powder, and I prefer for you to be able to see what you're doing, and they don't have no rule on that. They don't say you got to use clear. They don't say you got to use pink. They just say acrylic, odorless. Okay? So, what you're going to do next is you're going to take this right here and put it underneath the finger, like that. And you're going to take a cotton ball. And y'all, don't try to put a full cotton ball or a big chunk of cotton. Bigger is not better in this case. Okay? You're going to want to take a little bit of it off. Because you got to think about it. If I got this big old cotton ball, first of all, you're being wasteful, okay? And the only thing that the acetone is touching is this little piece right here. So if you got a big old cotton ball, first you're going to have a hard time wrapping it up, and ain't nothing going to happen but a bunch of acetone squeeze out onto your table. You need the acetone on the nail. So you want to isolate the acetone to just where it's going to be touching, okay? You could even go smaller than this. All right, so we're just gonna pull us a little piece of cotton off. It's a thin piece here. This is not a cumulus cloud or whatever you want to, what the big old fluffy clouds. We're just gonna make us a little piece right here. And then you're going to apply the acetone to the cotton ball like so. All right, and you can pack it on just the nail. It does not need to wrap around the finger, okay? And this is even when you're working on humans. Think about it. Why do I have a problem with gel on the toes? Is it the gel? It's not the gel. It's the removal. So you should be doing this on gel polish on the toes so that you don't tear up the client's toenails. Okay? Gel polish on the toes is a great thing. I got gel polish on my toes. But baby, I know how to take it off so that my toenails aren't toe up and thin. All right? So we apply that on there. And then you're going to wrap this up like a present. Now, watch how I do it, okay? Don't just ball it up on the finger because you got to unwrap it and check it to make sure that the acetone is coming off. So that you don't, but that's why I always put 3 or 4 in there because somebody going to ball it up, snatch it off, throw it to the side, and they still need to soak some more and they're going to need another one. So I always make sure you have extra. But when I do this, I want to pull it from this side first, okay? And you'll see, because one of y'all want to do it another way, and you're going to be like, oh, now I see why she did it that way. Okay? And then you're going to wrap this over and back over. Or wrap it around. Okay? Now, when you go to State Board, you want to hold the finger. And why do we want to hold the finger? You're going to sit there for about 5 minutes. And sit there. Just sit there and just think about all the things you're going to do when you get your license and all the money you're going to make legally and how can't nobody tell you nothing because you went to school and you got your license and you know what you're talking about. Just sit there and just, wait for 4 or 5 minutes, okay? And you have 20, like I said. And while that's sitting there, and you'll have your orange wood stick sitting next to you, okay? Hopefully I have one. I probably don't. Up here. Will you give me an orange wood stick, my dear? I just love having you right there. I don't know why I even thought about not having you around. Okay. And being that it's nicely wrapped, now here's the thing. You want to have it tilted forward, okay? So that way, no. The orange wood sticks that are over there, just sticks. I don't need a whole kit. That's a brand new kit. Those are for the new students. the orange wood stick, you want to tilt this down because your acetone gonna pour out the back or seep out. If you put too much, and if you squeeze too hard, you're gonna squeeze all the acetone out of the cotton ball. Okay, you don't need a lot of cotton ball. Just a little wooden sticks. There you go. That's them. Yep. That's what I need right there. You know what the orange wood stick is. You put those over there. Now, this is all you need. Now, you can take you a fancy pusher and all that stuff. You can do that too. But this is really all you need because you know why? When I finish my state board, I want to throw the whole damn kit in the garbage. I'm just be like, ooh, I passed. I don't need it no more. I'm throwing it in the garbage. I don't need this raggedy hand anymore. I'm done. Okay? If I got to dig out my good metal implements, I'm going to be a little annoyed. But anyway. So the reason why I did it this way, because I'm going to show you how it looks when you do it, or how difficult it is to wrap it when you do it any other way. Okay, so you're going to pull this over, and we're going to check it. We're going to take our little cotton ball, we're going to take it off the nail, and we're going to check it. And you'll notice that it starts to get a little, see? And I ain't been on here no time at all, so it ain't really done anything. But you'll see it starting to remove from the nail. Y'all see that? Let me stop it shaking. You see, it's already coming off. And this is what EMA acrylic should look like. If it's MMA, what does it look like? It's just gonna just swell. It doesn't really come off. When you touch it, it looks like glue, like it just, like you can pull it and it just keeps going. Because it's not meant to come off. It's supposed to be a permanent adhesion, y'all. So if I tried, so let me show you if you wrap it the other way, because I always try to set y'all up to win. Okay, I'm gonna show you there's the right way and the long. What somebody said it last week, the wrong way and the long way, or the right way and the long way, or something. It ain't wrong, it's just the long way. It's not the wrong way, it's the long way. Oh, that's what it was. Just, you can do it that way, but it's going to take you a little bit. So if you take your cotton ball, you got it on here, because this one's still saturating. You're going to have a little bottle, so if I want to put some more on there just to make sure that it's, it hasn't evaporated, put it on the nail. You try to do it like this, and wrap it this way. Now you got this and then this here, and then it's just a mess trying to wrap it. Okay? It's so much easier. Then your cotton ball probably not even on the finger anymore. You want to secure the cotton ball on the finger by wrapping it this way first. Make sense? Then over. Okay? Because you would be really, really annoyed if you put that cotton ball on and the cotton ball is underneath the finger and not on top of the right? So you're gonna sit there and wait. Now I'm gonna let this cook for a minute, okay, and talk to you guys. So do you have any questions about this? This is the easiest part of the state board. You really can't fail this part of the state board. Like,
so if you soaking off the nail and that whole, like you said, that whole tip come off, when
crazy,
you open it, what do? You just,
if I open it and I see the whole tip done came out,
just scrape,
I'm gonna keep scraping and scraping.
Yeah.
Because it might, if it come out, I mean, if it took 5 minutes and it came off, then that's fine. I mean, but if it come off in the first minute, it's just, they gonna swear you didn't have it glued on to begin with.
Yeah.
Would you glue it on with Elmer's glue? That would be cheating. I'm sure someone's tried.
So we just gonna pretend after that.
Just keep going. Just keep going. I mean, it's not going to take 20 minutes either if you did a real thin nail either. Think about it. What if I was soaking, this is like a manicure, a gel manicure. What if I was soaking off a gel manicure? That don't take no time, right? So, I mean, what if you laid your acrylic extra thin? You still pass the state board if it was a sculpted nail and if it was thin. They're not looking for the thickness and the thinness and all that. They're not measuring your nail. This ain't a competition. State board. So it could come off in 5 minutes. But if the whole nail just pop off all in one piece and they see that, they'd probably be like, okay. Now do realize this, y'all. They are going to ask to see your hand before you start the state board. They want to see that it's got the tips on it, that is they're glued down, all of that stuff. They're not going to just let you just walk in and start to stay bored. Okay, that's not how it works. They want to see your bag. They want to make sure you don't have no recording devices, no phones, none of that stuff. They're not going to search it like you got a gun or something in there, but they are going to ask you to open your bag. They're going to ask you, do you have any cell phones? Do you have any Apple Watches? Any timekeeping devices? Because you cannot wear any of that into State Board. They don't want you wearing a lot of jewelry that's clinging and clanking. Like I love to wear bangles and stuff. Somebody's gonna say, I was sitting next to that girl with all them bangles on. And it was distracting me. That's why I failed. So they try to eliminate all of that. Okay, so this is the easy part.
The tips that we do apply when we do the manicure is gonna be first. What if your tips start coming up when you remove the polish off your manicure?
You better hope it don't.
Oh.
You know, I just thought about that.
That's why we use polish remover and not acetone. Because you're going to see some people come in there with acetone.
And it's going to take the whole thing.
It's going to melt their pot. It could. Yeah. It could. But that's why we use polish remover when we're doing our manicures so you ain't got to keep replacing your tips every single time. Now, remember, there is a little bit of acetone in polish remover, but a very small amount.
So when we go to State Board, we're going to glue it down. We're not going to use no tape to put it down.
Oh, negative. No tape, y'all. The tape is only for when you in school to keep you from having to do a soak off every time you do a manicure. That's the reason why. No tape. Now, that's another thing I had a student call me and say, Miss Mary, she actually showed up with the tape on. They made her take all she had to do was pull the tape off because she had tips underneath and she had glue to glue them on. But she was like, they were like, man, you cannot use the tape. I was like, how many days were you here? And I said that.
So it'll definitely stay on without that tape because the tape is what.
Oh yeah, definitely stay on. That's the tape is simply for you guys to practice.
Did they make her go home, or
she luckily had another. See, so I always tell y'all, take your kit and then have extra stuff in case something happens. For instance, it would be disastrous if your acetone, some reason, spilled out. That's why I seal all my bottles. See, I seal all the bottles, make sure that, you know what I mean? So I ship these things to people that are taking their State Board somewhere in another state. So that's the reason why I've tried to tell you, don't go rogue on State Board Day. It's going to cost you $80 for the refill of everything that's in your kit. You got a bag already. Now you got to wear something like what Aaliyah got on. And it's got, you could wear that right there to State Board. You do not need to go buy another one. Okay. Right? What you got on now?
City Trends, $10.
Oh, you just got on a sweater.
No, actually,
but it's got the button or zip. It's got a button or zip. It can't be flying open. And I have those capes for you guys when you get ready, right? And it's just a cape. It has to be a cape because they want you to, when you do nails, you should be wearing a cape. You shouldn't be showing up in your good Gucci and stuff and doing nails all day. Be dusty as hell, right? So at State Board, that's what they require you to wear. Closed-toe shoe. Don't show up in there with no clogs. I told you can't wear clogs anyway. In school, no open-toe shoes. So all of those things are mandatory. So you're good. You got yours. You're straight. You know what I'm saying? But you got to make sure you have it. When we go over to State Board, we're going to talk about all of that. All the rules. All of that. Okay? So, let me check it. It's time to check it. We've been sitting here talking. Let's check it. All right? Check. Unfold it. Take a look and see what we got going here. Acetone soap thing that's sitting there for. Oh, look at that. Oh. Let's check it out. Oh, look at that.
Oh, yeah, that's definitely.
Yeah, so don't try to rush this. Look at that. See it? Oh, would you look at it? Now, what you can do, when you start scraping it, and there's still some on there, what you can do is you can take your file, because you will have a file. There's a reason for the file. You can start to roll it off the nail. Get most of it off. Okay, so that we ain't even been on this live. We're doing it recording right now. to test it on YouTube. We haven't even been on this. How many minutes? We've been talking for 39 minutes, right? But see how it's starting to flake off? Much easier. So you can start to remove. You got to be careful around the PNF so you don't ruin that mannequin's PNF. But look how easily it's coming off, right? So now I would go back on, and they're going to tell you you have 10 minutes remaining. Ain't nothing. We can do this in 10 more minutes. All right. So I'm gonna use another fork. That's why you have a few. Put this on here. We're gonna isolate it on the nail. Fold it over. Fold it. Hold it. Fold it. We're gonna wait some more. Okay? Put that good heat on it. Promise you it's gonna come off in 20 minutes. But if I had filed it even more, really went to filing it, be off by now. So don't be afraid to file it, because that's what you need to do in real life. I do it so when I have my settings and all my booking for my booking site and all, when people book a soak off, I only reserve soak off 15 minutes at max to do 10 fingers. Let me tell you why. Think about this. I got this one hand. This is one finger that I'm having to sit here and hold. But if I was doing a actual human, I got that finger bowl, right? I've got this one. While I'm working on one hand and filing and removing as much of the acrylic, I've got the other hand sitting here soaking. Okay? So you're going to rotate and rotate. Remove a little bit more. Take it to e-file, remove a little bit more, your hand file, get it off. And that one's been soaking for a whole 10 minutes in pure acetone, in hot water. So it's going to come off much quicker than even what I'm doing right now. Okay? Now, a lot of people ask, well, is acetone, it's got to be bad for your nails. It can't, to just sit it and soak it in your hands and your nails in acetone. It dries it out. Let me tell y'all a little something. So there's a chemist, I've talked about him a lot, named Doug Schoon. He's a chemist for the nail industry. Very sought after as far as like when they're making their own products and things like that. He did an experiment. He took nail clippings, clipped his nails, put them in a jar of acetone, and left them there for a year. What do you think happened when he took them out? What did those nails look like when he took them out? Did they even come out? Did they melt in there and disintegrate? What do you think happened to them? Do you think when he took them out, they snapped when he bent them, or what do you think happened?
But I don't think they disintegrated though.
Were they hardy?
Absolutely nothing happened to them. Nothing. They still were flexible. They were still intact. They didn't disintegrate. They didn't melt. They didn't turn a color. None of that. So in case y'all didn't know, there's actually a test, and you probably seen this before, acetone level test, because we have acetone in our bodies. It ain't, you don't want to drink this or nothing like that. But you have a small amount of acetone in your blood. Okay? So as far as acetone goes, it's not going to hurt the nails. It feels funny, and when you take them out, they feel a little dry and all that good stuff. But at the end of the day, it ain't going to hurt nothing for you to sit there and soak for an hour if you have to. Okay? Now, like I said, time is money for me. I don't like to waste time, and and that's when when you go to the NSS salon and they just put you in a big old bowl and sit you and make you sit there. They didn't even take the top coat off or the polish or none of that. That's a waste of time and product. Okay, so keep that in mind. There's nothing harmful about acetone. Okay, nothing. It's not going to hurt you. Now, because I've heard people say they're allergic to acetone. I'm like, how? You have it running through your veins. But anyway, I digress. You ain't allergic to acetone. You're allergic to your nail tip. Okay. So, I'm going to check this again. I'll open it up. See what we got here. Do me. All right. Pull this off. Look at there. It's literally, it's gone. See that? It's gone. It's coming. And the only thing that's still attached is the tip. But I promise you I'm going to get that off right now. Okay? So when you're doing this on a human, you want to be careful that you don't get, oh, it's all right, that you don't scrape the nail plate till you're scraping off layers of nail, okay? You want to be careful. So now I'm going to take my file, and I'm just going to lightly, carefully, it's kind of rolling off, y'all. Y'all see that? It's kind of rolling off because it has penetrated all the way down through the acrylic. See it? That little tip. Take your file, and you can just file that off, right? I must have did a tip on this one. Or was it sculpted? No, it was sculpted.
That's probably just was the thickest part.
Right. Yeah. But you can absolutely file that little tip off because that's the only thing that was attached, right? So when you go to state board, you want to make sure that this nail is as clean as possible, okay? So you can see the plastic part rolling off. As clean as possible. Get in there and remove all of that pink that you can see, okay? And now I'm going to take one of the cotton balls that I have. One of the cotton balls that I have. And remove a lot of this stickiness, okay? With a little bit of the acetone that I have in my container. All right. Remove all of that off of there. And then you'll buff it. Okay? And you want to buff it smooth. Now, remember, you may not get every single bit of it off, okay? But it needs to be smooth. Because I promise you, when I'm doing nails, I don't try to get every single bit of acrylic if I'm about to put the acrylic right back on. Y'all see that? That's what you're going to do at state board. And then you're going to buff it with your buffer. Okay? And you guys will have a little orange buffer in there. Buff it to smooth it out. Okay? Like I said, it would be a great day if everything came off all smooth in one piece and you didn't even have to do all this. But that's what you need it to look like at state board. Soak off. Okay? Easy. All right? So, you may or may not have a hand that needs to be soaked off. I'm sure you probably do. So, but you only got to do like 10 soak-offs for state board. I mean, to graduate, right? So, by the time you get to your last day here, you done did 10, I promise you. So just remember, and when we do we're going to start now that y'all have done every single thing on the state board outside. We haven't done the blood exposure procedure yet. Oh, we did. Yes, we did. Did the blood exposure procedure. That's the last thing, is the blood exposure procedure. So next week, I want you guys to be prepared to do a state board. And all that means is your kits need to be put together just like they were and you guys have the paper with everything. Make sure that all your bags are set up and that your hand is ready with the little the little tips on it. Now at state board for the practice, I don't care if you use the tape, right? Because we're practicing next week. But after next week, I want everybody to be glued down, looking like this, like we normally do, so that we can. I don't want my students being scared of state board at all. The theory exam, you sitting there in a cubicle by yourself, and ain't nobody even standing over you, none of that. So that's one thing. That's just studying. But this part right here, I don't want y'all to be afraid of it at all. Because by the time you go, you will have done it so many times that it'll be like second nature to you. Okay? That's all I have for y'all this morning. I want y'all to enjoy the day and start doing some, because y'all done everything basically. I mean, y'all went through the sculpting and all that. The last chapter that you guys need to learn is UV gel. And we'll do that next week after we do our, we'll do our UV gel and then we'll do our state board exam, practice exam, okay? So you guys can work on any of the services that you have learned, any of the chapters that we've gone over. Work on those things from your if you need some more powder, we can get you some more powder too. Work on anything that's on your sheet, whatever you want. Now you guys can jump right in. There's nothing on there that you haven't learned yet. Okay? Except the UV gel. We're gonna get to that next week. Alright? Alright.
I thought we were doing what you call it next week.
What?
E-file.
Oh, we did the e-file.
No.
Oh, okay. We're gonna do e-file. Don't worry. We'll do that. We'll do that. No problem. It was online the whole time. Hello everyone. Hello everyone. All right.